Jessica. Final Act, Scene 2. All day long I fought back tears, and now tears streamed down my face. I couldn't believe it. Mr. Terupt made it. He was here. He was okay. We rushed out of our seats, our bodies pressed together in a gigantic class hug. I missed you, he said. We missed you too, we shouted. I love you guys, he said, bending down to our level. He looked at each one of us and hugged us one by one. He hugged me. I love you, Mr. Terupt, I said. The words danced out of my mouth. I love you too, Jessica. We hugged some more, and then Mr. Terupt spotted Peter. Peter hadn't been part of the hug. He was still sitting in his seat, probably too scared to move, too frightened to think what Mr. Terupt might do or say to him. Mr. Terupt stood up and walked over to Peter. We watched, and he taught us like he did every day we were with him. He showed us how to forgive. Luke. Mrs. Williams spoke up. Boys and girls, I do have one announcement before I leave you with your teacher. She smiled. The school board has decided that next year will be an experimental year. We're going to try looping in one classroom. What's that? Anna asked. Looping is when a class and the teacher move on to the next grade together, Mrs. Williams said. It got quiet fast, real quiet. Hold your breath quiet. Was everybody wondering the same thing? I looked around. Jessica smiled and nodded at me. Boys and girls, next year your class will be looping, Mrs. Williams said. With Mr. Terupt? Anna asked. Yes, Mr. Terupt answered. We jumped and screamed and hooted and hollered. I saw Mrs. Williams heading toward the door. I ran over to her. Mrs. Williams, I said, as she was about to leave. She turned around. Yes, Luke? Thank you, I said. Then I felt a sudden quietness behind me. The rest of my class stopped and took notice of Mrs. Williams. Thank you, Mrs. Williams, voices called. She looked at Mr. Terupt. I was close enough to hear her say, There's magic in this room with you here, Mr. Terupt. Magic. She hugged him and left. Alexia. Teach made it. He, showed up on the last day with no warning. It was the biggest surprise ever. Everyone ran over and hugged him. Then Teach went over and hugged Peter. I liked Teach so much when he did that. It made me think of the day he took me out in the hall. Teach knew how to be nice. He didn't say one thing and do another. Not Teach. After things calmed down, I went up to him. I've been being nice now, Teach, I said. You'd be proud. You've always been nice, Lex, he said. You've just figured out how to show it. But you're right. I'm very proud of you. I can't wait till next year, I said. I can't wait either. I missed you. Then I hugged Teach again. I love you, Teach, I said. I love you too. So now it's wait till next year, and I can't. Jeffrey. Sometimes school can actually be great, and next year's gonna be just that, 'cause Terupt's back. I didn't think he was gonna make it. I thought he was gonna die like Michael did. I tried to help Michael, and it didn't work. I don't know if I helped Terupt at all, but he made it. I ran and got help when he fell down in the snow. I ran inside and got the nurse and made them call 911 and got Mrs. Williams. I did that. Was that enough? I watched Terupt hug Peter. He didn't blame anyone. Jessica told me that it wasn't my fault that Michael died. Maybe you just do the best you can, 'cause you can't control what happens in the end. I guess it's okay to hope for things. Sometimes it works out. Slowly, I'm getting my mom and dad back. There isn't silence between us anymore, though they still don't talk to each other very much. Mom is out of her pajamas, but never out of the house. That's okay for now. She's starting to try to get better, like me and Dad. I hope things get better between them. I miss my brother, but I'm real glad we got Terupt back. And I think I found some reason for all of this. I never would have been the one to break the silence between me and Mom and me and Dad if it weren't for Terupt's accident. I wanted so bad to tell him how much I loved him, and I didn't know if I was going to get the chance when he was in that coma. And that was when I knew I didn't want to miss the chance with my parents, so I broke the silence. I'm glad, too. I'm happy.